My name was printed on the card like everyone else's. But while theirs waited at round tables draped in linen and candlelight, mine was taped to a folding chair outside the restroom. The ink bled from condensation dripping off a half-empty champagne flute someone had left on the floor. The smell of disinfectant wafted out each time the bathroom door opened. That was my seat. His bride laughed when I asked if there'd been a mistake. "Only important guests sit inside," she said, her smile wide enough for the photographer to catch it. My mother leaned in, voice sharp enough to cut, but not loud enough for anyone else to hear. "Just be grateful you're invited." I looked at the card, then at the ballroom filled with clinking glasses and forced laughter. Then I stood. I picked up the gift I had brought, carefully wrapped, deliberately chosen, and said, "Actually, I think I'll—" and I walked away. It hadn't always been this way with my brother. We were inseparable once. He was older, taller, quicker to fight off bullies when I couldn't. I spent my childhood chasing his shadow, thinking if I ran fast enough, I'd catch up. But shadows stretch as you grow. He went to college on my father's savings. I stayed behind, working shifts to cover bills after Dad died. He sent postcards, glossy pictures of campuses, libraries, his new world. I pinned them to my wall like promises. When he got engaged, I thought the distance would shrink. Family, after all, was supposed to close the gap. Then I met her, his bride. She smiled like a politician and sized me up like an opponent. The first time, she asked where I worked before asking my name. When I told her, she tilted her head. "That's cute," she said, as though I were a child showing off a drawing. I laughed it off. I wanted to believe she'd grow on me. Instead, she grew on him. It started with money missing from accounts I once shared with my brother. Small amounts at first, explained away by mistakes. Then, family heirlooms vanished from my mother's house, always after one of his visits. The worst was the will. My father's. I found the new draft when I visited Mom, tucked into a drawer she thought I wouldn't open. My name erased. Everything redirected to my brother and, by extension, her. When I confronted him, his voice cracked in false sympathy. "She just thinks you wouldn't know how to manage it. It's for your own good." My blood ran cold. That's when I understood my brother wasn't protecting me anymore. He was selling me off piece by piece. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I smiled. If they thought me small, I would let them. Small things slip through cracks. Small things go unnoticed. Small things bring down giants when they strike at the right time. I began collecting. Emails accidentally left open on his laptop. Screenshots of her messages mocking me to her friends. Copies of bank transfers routed through shell accounts, proof they'd bled my mother dry. I opened no battles. I fought no wars. I waited. Weddings are expensive and fragile. Vendors demand deposits. Venues demand signatures. The law demands proof of solvency. 3 weeks before the wedding, I made an anonymous call to the venue, forwarded them bank statements. You might want to confirm your client can cover the balance. 2 weeks before, I mailed copies of the bride's private chats, the ones where she mocked her future mother-in-law's illness, directly to her parents. 1 week before, I filed a quiet legal motion contesting the altered will. My lawyer assured me it would freeze certain assets until the matter was resolved, which meant checks would start bouncing. The morning of the wedding, I placed my final piece, the gift. Inside the box wasn't crystal or silverware. It was a leather-bound folder, labeled tabs, printouts of every betrayal. A mirror, gift-wrapped and waiting to be opened at the right moment. When my place card showed up outside the restroom, I almost laughed. They thought they'd humiliated me. They thought they'd won. So I let them believe it. I carried the box, walked calmly through the ballroom, and left it with the gifts stacked on a table beside the cake. Then I slipped out. Later, I heard how it unfolded, how the bride opened the wrong box in front of the wrong crowd, how her parents' faces hardened with each page, how the venue manager pulled my brother aside about the payment, how whispers spread through the room like fire through dry grass. By the time they cut the cake, half the guests had gone home. My mother called me the next day. Her voice was thin, shaking. "What did you do?" I let her rant. I let her cry. Then I said, "I just gave them their gift." I sat at my kitchen table, the silence thick but clean. No shadows, no chasing, just air I could finally breathe. My brother had tried to erase me from my father's will. Instead, I erased him from his own wedding. And when people ask why I wasn't there, I smile and tell the truth. I was invited. I just chose a better seat.